Hello and welcome to episode 109 of the She Must Knit podcast. My name is Erin and thank you so much for spending some of your time with me today. I hope you guys have had a great few weeks. Did you expect to see me again in November? I wasn't sure. I know I told you in the last episode that I was hoping to record one more time before the end of the month, but who knows how things go now. I never think that things are definitely going to happen even if I plan for them to happen. But here I am. It's not quite the end of November yet, and I am back with some things to share with you. This is Thanksgiving weekend if you are in the US, so for my US viewers, I hope you are having a lovely weekend however you are choosing to spend it. We've had a very quiet weekend as usual. So right now, Dennis has taken the girls out for a walk here. I just woke up from a nap, so we have about an hour and a half before she, gets too tired to function anymore. And so he's taken her out for a walk. They've gone to the park. So I have the house to myself. And I thought this would be the perfect time to sit down and share with you what I have been working on. I actually wanted to record yesterday, but our neighbors, which is a business, decided that they had to do yard work all day and the noise was just crazy. So that didn't happen. But here I am today. So that's just how it's worked out, and that is fine. And as it turns out, I was able to knit just a little bit more on some projects, so I'll have a little bit more progress to share with you. So what do I have to share with you today? I have a finished object that I will be able to talk about and show you pictures, but I won't be able to show you the actual item. I have a work in progress. Actually, I have 3 works in progress, and I don't think... No, you have seen one of them, but 2 of them are brand new cast-ons. And then I'm going to share with you some works, some things that I'm planning on starting probably before the next time I talk with you. And I think that's it. I think there's 2 little updates that I wanted to do, and I think I'm going to do those now. So very simply, one is about the shop. So as I mentioned in the last episode, I will be having a sale going over December 1st and December 2nd. 30% off any of the items in my shop that are ready to ship. You will have to use the coupon. I think it's birthday, but if it's not birthday, I will put it on the screen here, but you can just use that coupon and get a discount. The other thing I wanted to mention about the shop is that I do have the custom listings up now for custom dyed yarn, etc. I have updated the gallery in my website for available fabrics. I've updated that with all the fabrics that I had bought over the year for my shows but was not able to use, so there's some really cute fabrics in there. And then the last thing was that I am currently planning my next club installment, and I'm pretty sure 99.9999% sure that the theme is going to be unusual creatures. So this past year the theme was mythical creatures, and kind of piggybacking on that, I'm going to do unusual creatures. So these are things and animals that actually exist in the world today that are just bizarre in some kind of way. I'm really trying to find things that you may never have heard of. The ones that I'm picking so far are ones that I've at least never heard of. But yeah, so unusual creatures that just have colors and inspiration that are going to work really well for dyeing yarn and creating a little package around. So that I'm hoping to have the listings ready sometime next week, and then the first installment will be in March because the last installment of this past club will be in January, and there are still spots for January, which is dragon themed. I think that's all the shop stuff I wanted to talk about. And then quickly, the other thing I wanted to touch on was Vlogmas. So I don't think I'm gonna be able to put together a regular episode in December because I am planning on doing a Vlogmas again. I think we've done it for 2 or 3 years now. It's a lot of fun. Avery really likes it. So we are planning on doing it again this year. But because of the way that I do it and just how much time it takes with all the little clips and the editing and stuff, I don't know if I'll be able to put together regular episodes. I mean, it's already like, a month or more between episodes. So Vlogmas, that's probably all you're gonna get in December. So if you've watched my past Vlogmases, then you kind of know what to expect. If you are new to my channel, what I tend to do is, instead of doing tiny little clips that are only 3 to 5 minutes long every day, I will kind of put those, I will still take daily clips, but I'll put them together when I have about 20 to 30 minutes worth, and I'll put a longer kind of compilation together. And so every, 3 or 4 days, there might be an episode that goes up, just, sharing with you what we're doing to prepare for the holidays. Now, I did mention before that this year it's probably going to be a lot different because there's a lot of things that we normally do leading up to Christmas that we're not going to be able to do this year. I'm not planning on going to a mall to visit Santa. I don't even know if that's going to be an option. Right now, the malls are open in our area, but that might not be the case within a couple of weeks. Who knows? We don't plan on going to, I don't plan on going Christmas shopping like I usually do and sharing with that trip, because I've already done a lot of the shopping. I wanted to get that done and over with because I didn't know what we just didn't know what the situation was going to be. I didn't know what the postal situation was going to be, so I kind of already got a lot of that done. So I'm not sure what we're going to be doing. If you have any suggestions of things that you would like to see during Vlogmas, let me know down below, and that will give me kind of a guideline. But there's going to be crafting. I'm going to share with you the knitting that I work on during the month. There's of course going to be advent calendars. Avery has her advent calendar. I'm going to have my swap advent calendar. I just got a new advent calendar today from my mom. She came to visit and gave me an early Christmas present, so I have another advent calendar. So there's going to be stuff like that. But yeah, if you have any other suggestions, let me know, please, down below. So yeah, let's get started with the knitting for today. So like I said, the first thing I'm going to share with you is the item that I finished, and that was the Lime Pop sweater that I was working on for my friend for her to give to her new nephew for Christmas. And last episode I showed you that I was working down the body and I was almost done. I probably had about 2 inches or so left. I finished that. I got the sleeves done. I think I finished it last Sunday. I think it was last weekend at some point I finished it. And my plan was, I was like, okay, great, I finished my Lime Pop. The next time I can sit down and do an episode, I'll be able to share it. But that day, I sent a text to my friend to say it was done. I sent her a picture, and she's like, oh, great, I'm going to be in your area in about 2 hours. So like I mentioned before, she lives about an hour away. And it just so happened that day when I messaged her, she was going to be passing through the area that I live to go do something else. And so within the 2 hours from when I messaged her, she was going to be able to pick it up. So I knew I wasn't going to have a chance to share it with you in person. I barely had time. I told her, I was like, okay, I think I have enough time to kind of spray it and press it and at least make it look a little bit smoother. So I was able to do that. And then she picked it up and off she went, and she was very happy with it. So I do have a picture though, because I took a picture of it on Kira just to see how it fit. He was born in May and Kira was born in April. And like Kira, he is kind of bigger than, like in clothes, than his age. So Kira is, I think, almost going to be turning 8 months soon, and she is in 9 to 12 month clothing. And similarly, he is wearing bigger clothes. So I ended up doing the 12-month size in terms of numbers, but then I added length to the bottom of the sweater, and I also added length to the sleeve. So I think what I did is I knit the sleeves to the length that they were supposed to be for that size. Actually, I think I might have knit them a little bit shorter just because I didn't want them so long. But then I did a really long ribbed cuff so that it could be rolled up now and he could wear it now, but there would be room for them to roll the cuff down and for him to kind of grow into it. And when I put it on Kira, she was able, like, she could have worn it as is. It wasn't huge on her. And so I'll put that picture up, and I'll see if I have other pictures. I know I took a picture of the hem because I used one of the tags, the little kind of suede tags that I got from knitting. I love that just says, made by hand. I stitched one of those on. I thought that kind of gave it a really nice finishing touch. Otherwise, I don't think I did too much else. I pretty much followed the pattern exactly. The only modification I made, I think I mentioned before, is that instead of doing the ribbed collar and then the split with the button, I did it where I did kind of a turned collar. So I knit rib for a couple of rows, I did a purl row, and then another couple of rows of rib, and then turned it in and kind of knit it together with the to the inside kind of thing. So I think that's the only major modification that I made. But I was really happy with how it turned out. This is yarn that I had in my stash. I've had it for years. I remember I used some of it to make Avery a sweater way back, and I had some leftovers, and I was pretty much able to use the whole thing. This is all that I have left of it, and it's just a little less than one ball. I could probably do a hat or something with this. Actually, that would have been nice. Had I had more time, I probably could have made him a little hat or something, but it's fine. I'm sure it will get used at some point. So the yarn that I used was Die Hard Fiber Arts in their worsted-based, hand-dyed. It was a local dyer. I don't think she dyes anymore, but I had 2.5 skeins or so in my stash, and I was able to use most of it. So that is my finished object for this episode, and I was very pleased, and I'm glad that I got it done in time, and it just so happened to work out that she was able to pick it up, and it just meant that I didn't have to mail it to her. So the next bunch of things I have to share with you are the things that I'm currently knitting on, and the first one is going to be my current Desert Vista Dyework socks. So in the last episode, I believe I had just started the socks, and I think I had a bit of the ribbing done. Did I have any of the sock done? I don't remember. It wasn't even that long ago, and I can't remember. But anyway, I know I was on the first sock, and I have since finished the first sock. So this is the color Bird Day, and of course this is from Desert Vista Dyeworks because I am doing her year-long challenge. With this colorway, I had ordered a skein, a mini skein to go along with it, so that's what this purple is. And I decided to do a contrast cuff. So I did my 2x1 rib for, I don't know if I counted rows or I just knit until I didn't want to knit with a solid color anymore, but it's about 20 or so rows. And then usually what I do when I'm doing my leg is I'll do one color repeat before I start the heel increases. And I'm finding with the socks that I have made for myself over the last couple of months, I just want them to be like a little bit longer than what that color repeat gives. I just want them just a smidge longer. So I decided to do the color repeat and then add a few stripes. So in this case, that ended up being about 10 stripes. So I knit 10 stripes, and then I started my increasing for the heel, and I do that in reverse stockinette because I just like how that looks. I like how it looks, and I like that it makes it very easy to see where I'm doing my increases. So I did that. I did my normal. Everything else is my normal sock recipe. I got down to where you join in the round again. I decreased stitches. So I started with 81 stitches up here, and then by the time I get down to the foot, I am working around 70 stitches, so 35 on each side. Knit that down, and then I did the contrast toe. So I think that's kind of fun to have the contrast cuff and the contrast toe, and it just means that my yarn will go a little bit further, so I was able to get that length in. And then on this side, you can see that I've got my little markers in because after I join back in the round, I know it's 50 rows before I do my toe, and so I just put a marker in every 10 rows so that I can easily kind of keep track of things. So my first sock is done. Now I did just mention that today is like the 28th of November. So I've got just like, 2 days left. I think I have until Monday. I have to finish my second sock by Monday. Are you ready to see where I am on my second sock? This is not where in an ideal world with all the knitting time, plentiful, this is not where I would want to be. But I think I can still make it. So this is my second sock. Last night I finished the cuff and I got a little bit of knitting on the leg done. I forget what show Dennis put on Netflix, but it was interesting enough that I wanted to kind of hang out and knit. So I did get a little bit started on the leg. Now I did not plan, usually what I like to do is after I'm done the first sock, I will rewind the cake so that the stripes are now would be going in this direction. I couldn't be bothered with that. I just pulled off there was a little bit of one color kind of peeking out from the cake. I just kind of pulled that off, cut it with the new color. It just happened to be this pink color, so I don't know how far off. Okay, I'm gonna be more than just one stripe, because when I started I was like, watch this be like one stripe off and it's just gonna look very awkward, but it is more than one stripe off. So that'll be okay. I don't really care if my socks don't match, so that's not a big deal to me, but that is where I am. I've got about 2 stripes done on the leg. Now, I know that if by the last day of the month I am on the foot of the sock, I have no problem finishing. I can do the foot of a sock in a day. So I was hoping to get a lot more knitting done today. That didn't happen. I have tomorrow. I basically need to get through the leg and through the heel, ideally, by tomorrow night. So I might try and stay up a little bit tonight and a little bit tomorrow. I really don't want to push it on that last day and have to stay up late on the last day to finish. So we're going to see how much I can get done tonight and how much I can get done tomorrow, so that by Monday I am working on the leg. We'll see how that goes. I'm so close to the end that I cannot give up now. I cannot miss the month of November and then be out of the being able to finish the whole year and getting that exclusive skein. That is the carrot. That is the dangling carrot keeping me going, as I love getting that exclusive skein at the end of the year. So that is the progress on my November socks, and now I have 2 new projects to share with you. So I think I am going to start with the less exciting of the 2 projects. Both of these I discussed in the last episode when I was going over my current Crafty bingo card and seeing, what goals I had left, what I thought I could still work on, what I might still be able to achieve, and the ones that, I'm probably not going to achieve. These 2, well, actually, one of them I think I'll be able to finish and I'll be able to mark off a square. The other one, I don't think I'll be able to finish by the end of the year, but I just wanted to get it started. So let's start with the one that will work towards my bingo square. So if you remember this yarn, I showed this in the skein last episode. This is Turtle Pearl yarns in one of her worsted weight bases, and so it's a striping worsted weight yarn. And I told you that my plan was to make a hat for Kira. I was going to use the plank and groove pattern, because I made one of these for Avery a number of years ago, and it just, in a pinch, when the weather dropped quite a bit in the fall, Kira didn't have a hat that fit her, and in a pinch I grabbed that one, and I just found that I was able to roll up the brim, and it just, because of the rib, it's a 3x2 rib, I think, because of the rib, it fit her, even though she's a baby, and it was made for an older child. And I was like, you know what, this would be a good pattern to use, just a nice skein of worsted yarn, make her a hat that will fit now, but will fit for years. So that is my plan. I didn't previously have a plan for this worsted weight striping skein, and I think this will work really, really nicely for it. So I just wanted to get this started, and then when I had a chance to knit on it, I have a feeling that this will be a really quick project. Once I have more time, like right now, my socks are my priority, but once my November pair are done and time is a little bit more lenient, I'll have a little bit more freedom, I'll be able to get back to this, and I think I'll be able to finish it by the end of December. So this is what I have started. I've got 2 little stripes there, you can see. I'm working these on smaller needles. I think the needles and yarn are completely different than what the pattern calls for. The pattern calls for a DK weight, and this is a worsted. So I think they call for like a 3.25 millimeter, and I'm using a 4 millimeter. I just wanted it to be smaller than what you would use typically with the worsted, just so that's a little denser. And because of that, I was originally going to do the infant size. I think there's maybe there's newborn or infant, whatever the smallest one was, like wee baby, and then there was the next one. I was going to do the next one, but because I'm using bigger yarn and bigger needles, I am doing the smallest size, and it should be fine, because again, because of the 3x2 rib, it is quite stretchy, so I am not worried about it fitting her head, and then again, it should fit her for quite a bit. So yeah, this is what I have. Not that exciting. It's just a little bit of a ribbed brim, but I think these colors are absolutely gorgeous, and I love using purples on her. It's funny how things work. Obviously, she's not old enough to kind of voice an opinion on the colors that she likes, but I found with Avery, even though before she was born, I was just like, oh, I don't want all this pink stuff, girls and pink, ugh, I don't want all this pink stuff. Pink just ended up really suiting her, and so she ended up with a lot of pink stuff, and then as she got older, she's really attracted to like bright pink. She doesn't like the more muted pinks, but bright hot pink, as you will see in an upcoming project that I'm going to be sharing with you, is her jam. She loves bright pink. And I'm finding with Kira that I'm gravitating towards purples and like getting her, when I'm picking out clothes for her and stuff, if they have multiple clothing options or color options, I kind of, veer towards the purple options. But yeah, and same with knitting for her. I'm just kind of leaning more towards purple. So we'll see. She might end up having green as a favorite color as she gets older. Who knows? But for now, she's getting purple. So that is the hat that I am working on for her. And like I said, hopefully I will have it done by the end of December and I will be able to mark off that square on my bingo card. The square was just make an accessory, so making a hat will fill that requirement. So like I just mentioned, the other project that I cast on is one for Avery. And I think I talked about this again with my bingo card last episode, how I had a square to make a light box sweater for Kira, and then also a square to make a light box for Avery. It's a pattern that I found that I think is really cute, and I want to make them kind of matching but reversed sweaters. And even though I'd be more likely to be able to finish Kira's by the end of the year and be able to mark that box off, she's just growing so fast, and like because her sizing is totally off. Like I have no idea what size she's going to be in 3 months. I can only guess because she's bigger than her age, which was not the case with Avery. When Avery was growing up, I could always buy her age. If I would buy her age if I wanted it to be kind of roomy on her, and if I wanted it to kind of fit her more, I would buy the size below. So I'm like, if I make Kira a sweater now, and then by the time I end up finishing Avery's, who knows, she could completely outgrow the sweater that I've already made her. So my plan is to make Avery's sweater first because she grows at a slower pace than a baby, right? So I'm making Avery's first, and then when I'm done that, I'll be able to better gauge what size to make for Kira. So that is what I'm starting with. I've got Avery's sweater cast on, and I also made another change. So I think I showed you the yarn that I was planning to use. I had said that I'd picked out originally. This project has gone through so much change, but that's okay. I think I'm really happy with where I am now. When I originally bought yarn to make these sweaters, the pattern calls for fingering weight yarn, and so I had ordered some Knit Picks Stroll when I did a Knit Picks order earlier this year, I believe. And then as the year went on, I was like, oh, I don't really want to knit with fingering weight yarn. It's already going to take me forever to make these sweaters. I don't want it to take even longer. So in the last episode, I explained how I had switched to using worsted weight yarn. I was going to kind of fudge the gauge a little bit, do a different size, use worsted yarn, but I didn't have any worsted yarn in kind of the hot bright pink that Avery likes. So I dyed some gray, and I found some turquoise yarn in my stash that she said she was okay with, and that's what I was going to do. Well, since telling you that, I've since changed my mind again because I forgot that at this point, I don't like making Avery sweaters with hand-dyed superwash, nice hand-dyed superwash indie type yarn, because it takes 5-6 balls to make her a sweater. And when you calculate out that a lot of times those yarns are, worth $20 plus, that's an expensive sweater. If I went into a store and saw a sweater for her age for that amount of money, there's no way I'd pay that. So a while back, I'd kind of like, you know what, I'm not using, nice yarn for her anymore. I don't even know if she's going to wear this sweater. She might wear them once or twice. Who knows? She's 9 years old. She's got tastes that are ever changing. So I had just started making her acrylic sweaters. And so I remembered that, and I was like, what are you doing? Stop it. So I went on and looked. I decided also to change the gauge so that it wasn't quite so off, and I decided to go with a DK weight. So I went to my trusty yarn source, Yarn Canada, just to see what they had in a DK weight, and I found this brand, well, the brand I was familiar with, but I found this line from Stylecraft, and this is their special DK, and they had a ton of colors. Are your eyes hurting yet? This is bright. This is the kind of pink that Avery likes. But I loved that this line of yarn had tons of colors. Usually if I'm making Avery a sweater and she wants pink, which she usually does, I will be lucky if they have that kind of bright pink that she usually likes. Usually they'll have like a rose pink or a baby pink, or sometimes they'll have like a darker berry pink. It's not often that they'll have that kind of bright, hot pink. Well, this line of yarn seriously had about 5 different versions of a hot pink that she got to choose from. I was able to show her a couple of options, and she went with this one. This one I think is called Fiesta. Yes, this is Fiesta. So if you have someone in your life who loves eye-searing bright pink, Fiesta is the color to go for. But I was able to order that. They had the gray that I wanted because I want to use gray for both of the sweaters and then change the accent color. But they also had a color that I really liked for Kira. So going forward, if I have to make a sweater for a child, I think I'm going to be going back to this line of yarn just because a DK weight is so nice to knit with, and they had a ton of colors. And when I looked through Ravelry, if I'm not familiar with a yarn myself, like having worked with it, often I'll go into Ravelry and I'll look at the projects and just see how the garment projects, you know, look. Do they look like, if someone did a sweater with cables, do the cables look nice and crisp? Do the edges look like they're holding up nicely? You know, do the projects look nice, even though it is with a budget yarn? And all the projects in this yarn looked phenomenal. A lot of people did blankets with them because they were using all the colors. All the projects looked absolutely lovely. So I don't have, I'm looking forward to finishing these. I think the sweaters are going to end up looking really nice. So I did cast this on the other day, and I've got the, can you even see the rib, or is it like blowing out? I got the hem done. It has a rib as well. I don't even know if you can see in what I'm looking at in the camera. It looks like it's just hot pink stripe. So I don't know if you're going to be able to see any detail, but it is, I think, a 2x2 rib. Yeah, it's a 2x2 rib, and you do that for a bunch of inches, and then you start into stockinette. I just started the stockinette, so I have to do that for a couple of inches, and then I'll see where the pattern goes. There's some sort of transition to the gray color, and then there's the accents in the shoulders. The construction is a little different than I usually do. Usually I like to do the top down kind of construction. This one's bottom up. There's going to be, I don't know how you do the little stripes. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be an interesting project, and I look forward to going through because all the projects in that have been done with this pattern look absolutely lovely. So that is the color that I am making for Avery. The only other thing that I will mention is, because I am using a DK instead of a fingering, I am doing the size 8. So I'm using a bigger yarn, I'm using a bigger needle. The gauge won't be too far off because even though the pattern called for a fingering, they used much bigger needles to give it kind of a looser fabric. And when I looked at the gauge of the pattern, it's very similar to what you would get using a DK yarn on DK, you know, needles for DK yarn. So my gauge isn't going to be that far off. So I went with a size 8. I'm hoping to get closer to the size 10. But yeah, it's gonna, I don't know, I don't think I'm gonna finish it by the end of the year, but I think the finished project is gonna be really, really lovely. So the color that I'm doing as the kind of contrast color is this gray here. This is in graphite. I think it's just a really nice kind of neutral gray that will go with both colors. And then the color that I picked out for Kira is magenta. So it's kind of like this purpley pink. And the reason I wanted to go with a color that would go with the pink is that I saw one of the project pages and someone did the sweater, and then on the, so they had the accent done as in the pattern, but then on the sleeves they added another accent. So the pink, so let's say it was the pink and the gray, they also added pink to the sleeve. So the cuff and then a little further up from the cuff was done in the pink. It just looked really nice. I liked how that looked. And so my plan is to kind of do the opposites with each sweater. So Avery's sweater is going to be pink on the bottom with the gray, but then her cuffs and a little further up are going to be the magenta. And then Kira's sweater is going to be a magenta body with the gray. And then on her sleeves, the cuff and a little further up are going to be the hot pink. So kind of reversed, kind of matching. Hopefully it ends up looking really, really cute. But yeah, I'm really happy that I was able to start this project and get it going. And we will just see how long it takes me to finish. So I think that is pretty much all the knitting I wanted to share with you for this episode. The only things I have left are what I'm planning on casting on in December that you might see if you watch Vlogmas. And then I also wanted to give you a little spinning update. So I was really hoping, I was planning on coming on here and giving you a really, positive update on my spinning. If you'll remember, one of the goals on my bingo card is just a spin of skein of yarn. And over the past couple of months, I have been working on a loop bump, and it's been going really well. I kind of got back into it last month. I got back to spinning, and I was making really, really good progress. The bag, if you're familiar with loop bumps, they come in kind of this bag, and then it's a center pull, and then you just kind of, it keeps coming out of that bag. The bag is getting very floppy. I think I only have about 2 colors left in the striping sequence to spin onto the bobbin, and then I was going to be able to ply it, and I was set. I was like, I'm going to have a finished skein for the end of the year. I am going to be able to mark off that box. But no, Mr. T had to throw a cog into that wheel. So I've mentioned this before, that he likes to chew on rubber type materials, and this has been an issue before where he has chewed through my drive band. And I had last year went to Woodstock, the Woodstock Festival, picked up a new one, and I had learned, like, I know he does this, right? And so I had been I'd cover my wheel with a blanket to keep him away from the drive band. Well, he has been ignoring it. It's been quite a while since he's kind of been attracted to it, and I haven't always been putting the blanket on. I know, shame on me, that was my fault, but I'd also been putting it into the corner of my studio. There's a little corner that's right against the wall, and I had been putting it against there so that it would be really difficult for him. It's not like it was in the middle of the room, it wasn't full access, it was tucked away. Well, last night, I think he did this to spite me. His name is Mr. Trouble for a reason. Last night, he tried to wake me up at 4 in the morning to feed him, and I was like, no, and I shut the door on him, locked him out of my room. And this morning I came down, and he must have just been in a mood because his toys were everywhere. Sometimes I'll find a toy here or there from him playing with them at night, but they were everywhere. And then when I walked into my studio, what did I see? But I saw in the middle of the floor that he had chewed my drive band, not into, not one piece, not so that it snapped into one piece, not 2 pieces, not 3 pieces. He chewed that drive band into about 20 pieces. And then he proceeded to obviously eat some of them, and then he decided to barf them back up for me to clean. So I have not been too pleased with him today. Of course, I still love him. He's my furry little baby, but it's just like kids, right? You can be like, I'm not happy with you right now. I still love you, but I'm not happy with you. And I am not happy with him. I was so close to finishing that skein, and so now I have to order, because there's no more shows, I'm going to have to order a new drive band and then pay the shipping, and they're like $20. It's going to be like $30 to get a new band, and I just don't know if I can do that right now with Christmas and everything. So I have a feeling like that is going to have to wait. I might put it on my Christmas list for Dennis and just be like, hey, if you're looking for, another gift, you can get me this rubber band. He's going to be like, rubber. Anyway, I might do that just to see, but I was a little wind out of the sails there because I was doing so well, and I thought I was going to be able to finish it, and now I don't know if I'm going to be able to. So that is my spinning update. Hopefully over Vlogmas I'll be able to, if something changes, I'll be able to share that with you. Maybe I'll be able to get back to spinning somehow. I'm going to have to go online and just see if there's other places that I can order it from. I don't know. I'm going to have to investigate. So that is my spinning situation right now. Hopefully if you are a spinner, you are doing much better than I am. But the last 2 things I want to share with you are the projects that I am planning on casting on come December 1st. So the first one is going to be my December Desert Vista Dyework socks, and sometimes I look at the skeins that I have available and I'm not sure what I want to pick, and so I'll take a picture of a bunch of them, post them on Instagram, and have you guys choose. Other times I'll look at my DVD stash and I'll be like, you know what, I really feel like working with that one. And that's kind of what happened with this one. So for December I am going to be working with this skein here. It is called Jobs. But I just found, I don't know, I've just been attracted to this skein for a while, and the colors kind of remind me of like Christmas lights and stuff like that. So even though it's not a Christmas themed yarn, like that's not what this was dyed to represent, to me it kind of reminds me of like little Christmas lights. And I think it's going to be really pretty with the kind of the gray neutral and then all the little different colors. So this is going to be my December skein for my Desert Vista Dyework socks. And then the other thing that I'm going to be casting on, I need to be honest with myself. I'm probably not going to be able to keep up with this, but I saw the listing go up for this in July, and July was my birthday month. So I was like, you know what, I'm going to buy this for my birthday. And the last couple of years, I think she's done it for maybe 2 or 3 years. I just love watching everybody else do this, so I decided I wanted to try this year, but I picked up the Advent skein from the Cozy Knitter, and mine is still in the package. I received this in the mail maybe 2 weeks ago or so, and I remember opening it. I was like, yay, my Advent skein. I opened it up, and I saw this, and it was like, no peeking, wait until December 1st, and I was like, oh, okay. And so I put it aside. And then I was on Instagram and other people had got their packages and they were saying how they opened it anyway. I was like, oh, I guess I don't really have to listen to a sticker, do I, right? Like, I could have opened it, but I don't know, something in me just wanted to wait until December 1st. So that is what I'm going to do. I mean, it's so close now. It's only like 2 days away. So I don't know what it looks like. I know some people posted pictures, but like in a black and white form, just so that they wouldn't give it away. So I have no idea what the colors are. And yeah, so I'm going to be opening that up on December 1st. And since I'm going to be doing Vlogmas, that will probably be part of one of the first little clips that I take, is opening my Cozy Knitter Advent skein. Like I said, I don't know if I'm going to be able to keep up with it. If you're not familiar with kind of like Advent socks and stuff like that, the idea is that it's a self-striping skein of yarn with, I think, 24 stripes, different stripes or something like that, and you're supposed to knit a stripe each day. And I think the Cozy Knitter does it in like two matching skeins, two separate matching skeins, so that they will be perfectly matching socks. I don't know if I'm going to be able to keep up with these. I mean, I have my Advent, my scrappy Advents that I swap with my friends, and I try and put those into my scrappy granny stripe blanket. And if you've watched past Vlogmases, you know I can barely keep up with that. So between, you know, my Desert Vista Dyework socks for the month and putting my scrappy minis into my granny stripe blanket, and then we have this Advent sock now, I don't know. I don't know how much I'll be able to do, but you know I'm going to try my darndest to keep up with everything, and then halfway through the month I'll just be like, I can't do this, but it's fun to try. So let me know if you also got the Advent skein. That would be fun to know how many of you will also be knitting along. But other than that, I think that's all I have to share with you today. I will hopefully see you, not too far in the future with my first Vlogmas episode. But yeah, again, I hope you are having a wonderful Thanksgiving weekend if you are celebrating. I hope you are looking forward to Christmas. Have you got your decorations up? We don't yet, but you will find out why in Vlogmas. But yeah, I'm looking forward to December. I always look forward to December. It's just kind of a happy month, and I hope you are too. But yeah, until the next episode, I hope you have a fabulous rest of the weekend, and I will talk to you soon.